People ain't loyal no more. It's time to talk. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Loyalty. Today I've got my guest Mick Lyons, special guest, something that means a lot for me. Someone who earned respect around Wigan, St. Helens and Warrington. I've been working on doors for 44 years and has got some stories to tell. So let's go and dive into your life stories, and thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Cool. Let's start from the childhood. You told me that you always had a passion for a fitness since early age.
Yes, that's correct. When I was a little lad, I always went to the movies because that's all you could do in those days. And obviously, I looked up to the people on the screen and admired them for their physical prowess. Your Steve Reeves is playing Hercules, Goliath, and your E-Men and such a body. So I always looked to them and thought, maybe one day I want to be like that.
So that was basically, we all have heroes, you know. When I was born in 85, and in 90s there was Arnold Schwarzenegger, there was Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know, and all these guys fighting on screen. So detention center. Let's go into that. You went to this detention center. It's definitely something that it can either break you or made you. Yeah,
it was a turning point in my life. What happened, I was pretty bright as a child, and there was an exam what you used to take in them days called the 11 plus. And if you passed that, you went to grammar school, which was a supposedly better school. I actually passed it when I was 10, a year younger than I should have been. So I went to this grammar school, young lad expecting everything's going to be nice and what have you. And the teachers were absolutely terrible. They were sarcastic, they treated you like bloody shit, to be honest with you. I remember doing my homework the first night I took it and the day after they ate me, because physical punishment was allowed them days.
Okay.
So I thought, this is not going to work out for me, and it didn't. I'd been doing judo for a couple of years then. Mm-hmm. At that stage, I was, proficient in a little bit of judo, which came in handy, because the kids I was with at school were all a year older than me. And there was a big lad, I always remember him, Joe Wallace, his name, weighed about 15 stone at 11. And I managed, by some way or another, to put him on his back. He was a proper bully at the time. Anyway, through school, through the teachers putting me down, they definitely put a chip on my shoulder, a big chip. So by the time I was 13, 14, I was a rebel. There's no ifs or buts about it, I was a rebel. And I was knocking about with lads 2 or 3 years older than me. Say I was 13, 14, these were 16, 17, which always seemed to be the case with me. I was always with lads older than myself. Mm. One of these teachers at the school, I always remember his name was Shepherd. He used to beat lads up. Bring your dads, bring your uncles, I'll do them all. And anyway, I'm fighting with a lad in the dinner hall one day. So he cracked me. And I said, you do that again, I'll crack you back. And he did. And I knocked him all round the dinner hall. So all these teachers then were all like stood back because none of them wanted to be the next one. So I went to the headmaster's office and he said to me, what are you going to do? What am I going to do with you? He said, I can't fight. He said, if I let you go for your dinner, and can you just keep quiet, type of thing. Right, so I felt then the system wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. Shortly, within a couple of weeks of that, I spent 76 days in Her Majesty's Pleasure at a detention centre. Mm-hmm. Now, in them days, the detention centre was basically a boot camp. And in the mid-60s, they were a lot rougher and tougher on you than what they would be today. Mm-hmm. All the screws in there were ex-commandos, SAS, paratroopers, you name it. They were all ex-military.
Tough.
Right. Nice. I remember the first day I went in and I thought, oh, God, this is going to be bad, like. I didn't eat me the first day I was in there. And I had two Scousers who come in the same night as me. And I always remember it, another turning point. One of these Scousers was all right, and the other one was a bit of a bully. So the first day I didn't eat my food because I wasn't hungry, I was fed up. Mm-hmm. So the second day I was hungry, but he still wanted to eat my food. Right? So I said, no, you're not eating it today. I'm hungry now. So he said what he was going to do to me. I've only been in the place 48 hours. So we arranged to have a fight. And we have one, and I get the better of him. Right? Anyway, I give him 2 black eyes. He still had them 3 months later. Right? So what happened then was they have me in front of this warden. I've been in 2 days. I've already had trouble, which didn't go down well with the screws there. But they were having an home office visit the following week. So they had us both in the office, and they asked this lad, his name was Bennis, what happened to you, Bennis, with your eyes? He said, Lyons did it. So they said, no, Bennis, what happened to you? He said, Lyons did it. They said, no, Bennis, you walked into a door, didn't you? Because obviously they didn't want to tell the home office visit that I'd done it. So that was the start then. In them days, you had a Manchester crew in there, a Liverpool crew, and what was left over, Midlands and us. But I came through that detention. The last few weeks I almost started relishing it. I was training hard and thinking, oh God, what this is going, you know.
This is good. They've not, like a training camp.
Yeah, they've not training camp. They've not brought me. And they started. I've seen another side to the screws because they, all of a sudden, they knew that they hadn't brought you. And they'd probably done military training as well. Mm-hmm. And so they knew there was something about you, type of thing, you know. Yeah. So
it's a mutual respect.
A mutual respect, yeah. That's only the last couple of weeks when they ease up. So I came out of there 1966, and I joined. Where did I go then? I was left school then. I'd finished school. I went coal bagging. Mm-hmm. Coal bagging at the time, for the people who don't know, everything in this country then was working on coal. So all the houses was heated by coal. So people had coal delivered to their houses. Mm-hmm. So the job appertained going to a colliery every morning, filling your wagon up with coal, 100 weight bags, taking it down to Liverpool, throwing it off, going back, and vice versa, all the time like that. 2 or 3 lorry loads a day.
Tough physical job.
Tough physical job, yeah. But for about £6 a week. That's all it was, right? That built me up as well.
Yeah,
so you had to do the work what the men were doing, you know. So that brought me through.
Did you still train along this?
I hadn't started training then. The training there basically was with the hard work. It was doing with the hard work. Then, around that time, I became a second man on wagons, roping and sheeting for a brewery. This Bristol Cream, which taught me, was on the road, sheeting wagons, stuff like that. All stuff what was rough and ready. I was always attracted to fairgrounds, the bright lights, the music and the girls, right? And it was the freedom of doing that work. So I started on the fairgrounds when I was 16, 17. Fairgrounds was a great job at the time, not like they are now. When you go to towns, they'd be open, the fairgrounds would be open till midnight. So you didn't just get kids on. When the pub shut and the club shut, the adults would come on.
Yeah.
And there were rides like waltzers, speedways, platform rides, and you had to be agile to work on those rides. Mm-hmm. And you had to be fit and strong because you had to pull the things down, go to the next town, build them up and start again. So that was a great way of life, The showmen who owned the machines, you learned a lot off them. Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of knowledge being on the road, which was great.
Could you make some good money as well?
Yeah, your wages then was comparable to anybody who was on normal jobs, and you got extras. I.e., you was shoving a waltzer car around, people had money'd fall down the seats, so you pick that up after, and that was an added bonus. When I was on there, I met a guy called Ocker, who was a little bit of a mentor for me. He'd done a lot of jail, Ocker. He was 14 years older than me, but we became very, very close. Mm-hmm. So close, I carried him when he died. And he was a rum bugger at Ocker. He'd done a lot of time and been in Isle of Wight and stuff like that. And he asked me around that time, 1970, or just previous to that, I was down at Nottingham Goose Fair. The Goose Fair is one of the biggest fairs in the country. Mm-hmm. And the night before the fair opened, everybody used to get drunk, all the lads. So we all got drunk like you do. And we ended up fighting with the police, and we turned the police car upside down on its bonnet. Right. Fellas shouting assistance, and we're beating it. Anyway, they locked us, 33 of us they locked up, but they kept 3 in. I was one of the 3. Right. And I spent a short time again in Lincoln jail, you know. So I come out of Lincoln jail, and Ocker says to me, the fellow I've just mentioned before, I'm working this nightclub called the Night Spot in Warrington. And he said, would you like to come and work with me on the door? 2 brothers had it, Peter and Kevin Donahue, Irish lads. Marked out at this time, as I'm 75% Irish as well, you know. So anyway, I worked the first winter there, and the thing about it, you had to be 21 for getting this club. And I was 18 stopping people getting in because they weren't old enough, you know. Right, so that was my introduction to nightclubs, right. I always flew in, and I always did what I could. I never backed off. I was always first in there, and me and Mock had made a good team.
Yeah.
The year after, I'm back on the fairgrounds, and I'm coming up to 20 years of age then. And I started work. I took Ocker with me because he'd been good to me, and we both got jobs at the famous Wigan Casino. Wigan Casino was like a world famous club then. It had all the top artists, and there was 2 clubs in one, and gambling as well. When I first went there were some big lads worked on that club though. And I think there were 16 worked on a Saturday evening. I met
16 lads, wow.
16 lads. There was 1,500 to 2,000 people on a Saturday evening. So I met 2 more mentors there, the late Bert Green and the late Len Weatherby. Len Weatherby was a wrestler, and Bert was good with his face. Good old rough and ready fella, you know. After a few months there, I realised, even though all these big lads was working there, when them 2 were on the front door, they always wanted me with them. So, well, you know, they've got these big lads. So I thought maybe they spotted something that I've not. So that was a rum old club. On a Saturday night, I always took two shirts with me because you needed 2 shirts. There was never any weekend where there weren't no trouble. It was like it was going to go off no matter what. You know, whether it was on the door, inside, outside. And you've got to remember those days in this country, your licensing hours was 2 o'clock shutting. And they had this silly law, stupid law, where anybody could buy as many drinks as they wanted at 5 minutes to 2.
Fucking hell.
But they had
so
to.
It took them an hour to finish.
But the law said they had to be off the premises at 10 past.
Right.
So you've got grown men who's worked all week.
Yeah.
They've ordered 3 pints, 4 pints at 2 o'clock, and then you're saying to them, "Come on your way."
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. The casino I'll just tell you a couple of daft stories. The fella who owned the club, Jerry Marshall, he lived in the club. He had a bed inside the club. And anyway, he sent word down, we've got to start letting more people in on a Friday evening because Fridays were as good as the Saturdays. And it's a daft story, this, but it's worth telling. So Bert says to me, listen, we've got to start letting a few more people in, and we'll have to ease off a bit, like. But it wasn't a club for that. If you didn't keep on top of it, it got silly. So this particular Friday, we let this family in. I'll not name no names because they might have descendants. But they weren't fighters, but they were notorious for getting up to mischief. So the whole family came in, and they had an entourage of women with them. Now these women were that bad, the devil wouldn't allow them in hell. They were that bad. So I said, But I said, it's not going to work out right this tonight, you know. Well, Jerry says, I said, all right, we'll go ahead with it. Anyway, night proceeds and they start monkeying like we expected them to. So I goes across and says, can you behave yourselves, you know? So the eldest brother jumps up and tries to take a shot at me. So I've got him at arm's length and But's shouting to me, so what you do, don't hit him. Mick, don't hit him, he shouts. I said, I can't put up with this much longer. He's trying to put his head on me like. So, you know, he carried on and all of a sudden, But said, hit him, Mick. Right. So I bangs him. Next thing, he said, I've lost my eye. So everything stopped. I didn't know, but he had a glassy eye. so his glassy eye shot out. So all proceedings stopped. And they found his eye under a table. So he sticks it back in and I hit him again. Right? So, meanwhile, all the rest of the brothers and the entourage are fighting. It was just a really silly situation. Anyway, we get the better of them. Well, we thought we did. We'd laid them on the wall. The women were worse than the men. All of a sudden, they brought two fellas with them, one from the bogs in Ireland, just a lump, an almighty lump. And we're knackered. And he gets up, this big fella. He comes like right on the death. I thought, I'm not messing about you. You know what I mean? I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I hit him with a stool. Yeah. Drops him to his knees. Right. He shakes his head. Gets up. I hit him with a stool again. He drops on his knees again. Gets up. I thought, keep down, you know. And he went, gets up again. I thought, I've had enough of this nonsense. There's a round top table. So I picks this table up, and a woman screams from the balcony, oh no. I said, oh yeah, bullshit. So he was off, you know. But it was one of them clubs like that. Another one with the casino, which is, it went on all the time, but this was a real silly one, this. I'm on the door, and it was like a Sherlock Holmes film. The fog was like really thick. And there was a feeling of doom and gloom that evening. So I goes in and I thought, something's not going to be right tonight. So Bert says, 4 lads have not turned in, mate. So there was only 8 of us working on a Saturday night, 2 clubs, but joined up with one another. Next thing, a coach pulls up. On this coach, there's about 50 Scousers. They'd been 8 races. And they'd lost their money. So, right? Pissed, right? So anyway, they come in. I said to Bert, who's booked these in? He said, I don't know. So they come in, all sit down. So anyway, a new lad started, big lad. And I said to Bert, it's not going to work out. It's somewhat going to go down tonight. Next thing, this country and western singer comes in with his guitar. Now, every time he came to that club, there was trouble. This singer. And as he walks up, he actually said to me, do you think there'll be any fighting tonight? He said, there's some rum fights in this place, isn't there? Right. I said to Bert, there it is. That's put the final thing on it, the X on it, that. So anyway, the juggler comes on, because they had cabaret on, and they're getting restless, these lads. So I gets called in from the other side of the club down. And then the country and western singer, I've just told you about, gets up playing his tunes. He sat on this stool, and the chair was past his head, like, you know. This lad who's just started his first night, they're on the door. He leans over. Oh. Just for, stop it. One of them, bang, cleans him out. Well, that was the worst thing. What could happen? He went out straight to there. They all look at one another then and think we can do what we want tonight. So there was hell that particular night. There was nothing left in the club. And I just bought a brand new maroon suit, dark maroon, and it was ripped off my back. And Bert shouting to me, don't give up, Michael, keep going. And we got the better of them. We was hitting them with everything what you could do. We had to. That's how they killed us. So anyway, it ends up, police come, dogs come flying in, police dogs come in. They're hitting the dance floor, the police dogs, and slipping and sliding, squealing and running back out of the club. They didn't want none of it. So anyway, it ends up we've done it, but there was one fella left, and Butt knocked him out. I always remember it, because I thought, because Butt was getting on then, he was in his 40s now, we used to think that were old then. And I thought, he said, no, leave him, Mickey, I'll have this fella. And Butt cleaned him out, that were it. So the owner of the club, who you never seen, Jerry Marshall, walks in with a cigar, and he said, what went wrong, Butt? Butt said, they've come on a coach, they've all lost their money at Airdale Park. He said, and they're all drunk. He said, it's not much of an excuse, that, but said, it's the only one I've got. Next thing, there comes a West End singer. He's walking out of the club with his guitar on his back. He went, that's the best one yet. He said, wait till I get back to Burnley and tell him about this one. Yeah, so
I think he was always enjoying it.
So that
Already on doors, working. You said to me that you had the Bickershow Festival. You had to put the team together for it.
In 1972, Jeremy Beagles, he was a famous television broadcaster, came to Wigan, a place called Bickershow, just fields of Bickershow, and he put one of the largest pop concerts on ever. All the top stars was on there. Some of them on their own now, they'd be top of the bill. And it was for 3 days and 3 nights. It started on the 6 o'clock on the Thursday evening, and it finished on Sunday at 6 o'clock. It was open all night, day and night. I think it was 85,000 there at the time, which was a pretty big crowd. Mm-hmm. It poured down all the time. There was people just larding the slutch and everything around. But it's gone down in history because of the artists what played there. And on the last day, the Grateful Dead, a famous rock group from California, Jeremy Beadles came to me. I was only 21 at the time. And he said to me, listen, I've been watching you work. He said, I want you to stay on with you guys till the end and go on stage with Grateful Dead, which I did, you know. And so that was just a chink of history, that.
Weight training, passion for fitness, judo, all this combination, basically, you always... I guess it's a habit. It will become a habit and you need it. You always need to train.
Yeah, if I didn't train, I would absolutely probably go off my bananas. I have to train. It's always been in my system, and I don't feel right if I've not done it. Mm-hmm. I started seriously getting into weight training when I was 20, 21, 22. What happened around that time, I got myself into about 3-4 incidents where I was at Crown Court from a wounding. I got 2 not guilty for malicious wounding with intent. It shouldn't have been there anyway, because it was the same adage, if I hadn't done that to them, they'd have certainly done it to me. Yeah. So I got 2 not guilties. I then got a guilty against me, and I got that because of a thing called joint enterprise. There was 3 of us at dock, and if they found one guilty, they had to find the other 2 guilty. If I'd have probably been on me one, I might have stood a chance, but I didn't. I got 6 months in default, or what have you. I then got involved in a bit of serious crime, which I'll not go into, but I had to get out the country. So I flew to Germany. I was working for an American company called Raymond Centelline, and we were based in Bochum, Dortmund, various countries, cities, I should say, in Germany. And obviously, the lads who I was with, half of them was on the run anyway. There was the Liverpool lads, the London lads, and there was us, you know.
Good boys.
We always had a story to tell. There was a funny story with that, because 2 of the lads, one of them had a 6-gun. His name was Lambert, come from Leeds, and he'd been watching the first version of Magnificent Seven, the film, where the fella has a knife, Lee Jacob, and he throws the knife quicker than the fella can draw the gun. Mm-hmm. So we're all in this bar. It would be called this. It was called the drugstore, and all the Germans around. So these 2 lads, Lambert and this other kid, from Otley, I can't remember his name, but he was the fella with the knife. So the thing was, they was going to arrange this fight where somebody shot and he'd throw the knife. Obviously, there weren't a real bullet in it; it was a blank. But the Germans in the bar didn't know it wasn't a real. So one of us had to drop an anchor, and when he dropped the anchor, Lambert drew his gun and shot the gun, and this other kid threw the knife. No, not to hit him.
Yeah. So
he dropped the anchor, and Lambert shoots the gun. Well, it hit his shirt, and all his shirt was smoke coming out of his shirt. So all the Germans in the pub, they think it's real. So they all scream and run out the bar, And but yeah, there was all kinds of nonsenses like that. It was a rough and ready job, and I can remember us doing a job there. We ended up working outside a brothel, right? And the Americans was running the job. They were an American company, Raymond Centellan. And anyway, this fella come from Arizona. And we're outside the brothels because the job were moving all the time, and it's snowing. And he comes and he says, "Mickey, where's all the guys gone?" "All the guys are gone." "They're all in them shop windows there, Like, so, yeah, so I went from there to Sicily, working in Sicily, Syracuse. And I know you're a man of your thing with your old style gangsters. And there was a guy there in a restaurant called Chicago Johnny. And we used to end up in his restaurant at the end of the night. And we only had one day off, but we always ended up in his place. And he'd been deported in 1938 or 39, I think it was, with Lucky Luciano, a famous gangster. But he used to love us going in because he could speak English. So he'd get these guys a taxi, get them home safe and all this, and all that, and he had a trilby on, braces, a big belly, just like you should picture. But lovely people, very respectful, and the mafia was the thing there. Then it was still big,
With your training, you told me you tried many styles, but only one of them you found perfect fit for street fights.
Yes.
Which was Goju-Ryu.
Goju-Ryu. Well, I came back from Sicily and I got bang into training then. Mm-hmm. Really started training out. And I caught up with my judo a little bit then. No, although I never got gradings in judo, I was proficient in it. Mm-hmm. Probably to a brown belt standard.
Yeah.
I used to go and have a go with there was a club in Prescott near Liverpool where all the black belts used to go, the good ones. Mm-hmm. And every Saturday afternoon, it'd just be for them. But they used to let us in, and we'd have a good wrestle for a couple of hours with them. You'd hold your own for an hour or so, and then obviously the experience would catch up with you. I was also at the time trying little bits of different styles, and I thought, they're not for me, these. I want something what can add on to my alphabet, what suits me, what I'm good at. I was blessed with fast twitch muscles. It's a blessing, really.
Yeah.
I've always been able to move quick, which some people don't have fast twitch. And I'm not saying you can't get there, but if you've got fast twitch, it's a great
advantage.
Great thing in street fighting, especially. So I heard about, it became a good friend of mine, Gary Spires. Gary Spires was an expert on Goju-Ryu, and he brought a new style called applied Goju-Ryu, which is making it work, so traditional and applied. So I went up to Southport with a friend of mine, and we asked him to come down, and we got a class going with him in charge. Now, I've always been humble in this kind of a thing. I went there not thinking I knew this and I knew that. And he knew I'd been working on the doors for 14 years then. So I was with Gary for 5 years, and I got me black belt with Gary. And we became partners, business partners for a while. We had clubs together, had a few adventures together. That was a turning point because it had put the icing on the cake for me. And I was proficient enough for then to teach applied Goju-Ryu to students who I wanted to work for me. 84, 85, I got called. I was headhunted actually. It was really getting bad in Wigan. Wigan had the third biggest nightlife in the northwest. Only Manchester and possibly Liverpool had more nightlife going on. And the lunatics had basically taken over the asylum, right? Not just in nightclubs, in the pubs as well. They was reeling the roost. Anyway, a couple of friends of mine got in touch with me, and they let me know that certain people was opening a new nightclub, and they didn't want to go back to what was going on there before. They spent a lot of money on it, and they asked me would I take that club over, because obviously they spent money and they didn't want it going down there. So I went down there, took it. Within about 3 weeks, had 3 nightclubs on about 4 pubs, right? So I brought my lads in then, not just local lads. I brought my lads in from Liverpool, lads from
training, from everywhere. Yeah.
And then I started training my own squad of lads. So I had a nucleus of about 40 lads who we used to train 4 or 5 times a week. So I got them to a standard where they all knew the script, they all knew the basics, they could all punch properly, they could kick properly, and everything what mattered in a door situation they could do. How to get people out of the club in the quickest possible way. How to handle things if they were outnumbered. And I would always, because of the way I thought, I could always lift things up another level if I had to, right? So that came into it as well. If we needed as Gary put it, a go-due spanner, a go-due hammer, a go-due gun, we'd lift it up to that level. It took me about 2 or 3 years to get rid of all what was going on in Wigan. They were that ingrained. Obviously, this is where the loyalty comes in. I had people who I didn't know who they was. I always got a sense about things, mate, Martin. I always had a feeling. I've got a sixth sense about people. So I'll just give you an example. There's a lad comes to me and he didn't seem right. And he was one of them. He had a big jug head and square head on him. And he asked me for a job. And I thought, all right, I'll give him a job. He didn't turn up when I gave him the job. So he comes again. And he came to one of my classes. And he asked me for another job, so I gave him a job again. And he didn't turn up again.
No way.
Right, yeah. So what happens, this is how the universe comes into play. It's meant to be. Yeah. This is how things are meant to be. One particular Friday evening, I bumps into a lad who works, he's just finished working for me. He was a boxer called Ronner. And he said, where you going, Mick? I said, I'm just going down to this club checking on something. He said, I'll have a ride with you. So he goes to the club. And he's in the club again. This fellow who's come in for a job twice, right? Now, he's not only in the club, he's monkeying. He's messing about. So I said to Ronnie, he's been for a job twice in with me. So Ronnie knew who he was. I'll not say his name because his family's still around.
Yeah.
He said, he's an handful him, mate. He said, he said, handful him. He said, he's been asking questions about you. I said, has it? I figured out. I said, why? What did he say, Ronnie? He said, well, I think I can take that. Make, usual nonsense. Yeah. So I'm watching him mess about, and he was just being a twat, really. So I made my way to the door, so he had to pass me when he was going out. My ego probably comes into here, but I think it was the universe that sent me. So I goes across to the door, and he has to pass me. A couple of lads are on the door working for me. And as he's going past, I went, hey, next time he asked me for a job, I said, make sure you turn up. So he says to me, well, what will you do if I don't? Right. I said, we best go outside and sort this. So I went outside and I put him in hospital for a couple of weeks. Right. I was on car park for about 2 weeks. Right. So what happens then? Now you could put this down to not being a grass, or you could put it down to fear. The police were at his bedside every day, every night, and all they kept saying
to get the information.
Yeah, just tell us as Mick Lyons has done this to you. Tell him. He didn't. God bless him. He's dead now. You know, now whether it was fear or respect. I bumped into the guy a few months after that. He was shaking, and I shook his hand. I said, "Listen, what's happened's gone. I don't want you being worried about me the rest of your life." But he wanted it. He thought he could. There was
Unfortunately, for those who are looking for it, they will always find it.
There was no way out of it, mate.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done it that night, it would have come at a later date.
You know, there is a saying that I learned. As I told you, I worked on doors for only a couple of years, nothing to compare to you. There is always man above you. If you look for it, you will find him.
There's always somebody faster.
100%. And stronger and probably better, you know, who trained more and
who's right. And who's right.
Yeah.
That comes a lot into it. If you're in the right, if you're right, you've got the might.
But what I notice as well, like, real fighters, they're never going to fight with each other because they know how bad it can be for them.
Exactly.
Because one of them is either unconscious or spend some time in a hospital. Yeah. That's how it's going to end. You know, it's usually the dickheads with the ego who always kick off and look for it. Yeah.
If you go looking and you come unstuck, you can lose your reputation just like that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I know I've said this before about reputations. It's very easy to get a reputation. Very easy to get a reputation doing bad things. It's harder to get a reputation doing good things. Well, the good things will stick with you longer. But it's very, very easy to lose that reputation by doing something silly yourself.
Yeah.
You know. And I tended always to think about that before. I've been in positions, through my life. People's come to me in restaurants when I've been eating. They want to go outside with me. I've gone outside. I came back in and finished my supper. That's all I'll say. Right? I've been in shops. People's come in. I've been in pubs. There was a guy once. I'd say I was in my mid-20s, and I was in trouble wasn't in trouble. I was fighting every week because everybody was at the time. This kid was from St Helens, and he had a rep. His score was he'd knocked 22 fellas out, and he'd strung his legs in St Helens. And I'd laid on a mate of his who'd started it. I hadn't started it, and he said to me the same night, "You wouldn't do that to me." Right. So I knew that in the future he was going to bob up.
Yeah.
So I'm in a pub. We've been out all day, me and my friends. These lads who were fighters. And at 10 minutes to 11, just before closing, in he comes. And in them days, mid-70s, they all had them Mexican moustaches over here, you know, like. And a good-looking lad, this lad. And he was an ex-rugby league player. Well, he was still playing then. And he came in with 3 or 4 guys from, they were Bradford Northern players. And my friend says to me, "Bloody hell, Mick," he said, "this fella's after trouble." And he was stood there, you know, like, I thought, which way, how do I play this? Well, he's come in for do his job. I said, I'll go through front door. Everybody's going to see it for like what it is. I'll only take it away from people. So I thought, if I go to the back, to the toilets, he's going to come in. So I go to the toilets at the back of the pub, and he's 2 seconds behind me. So I said to him, his name was John. I said, "All right, John, I'm better than you." He said, "You know that they do." I thought, here we go again. There's no way out of this one. I said, "What do you mean?" So I think I can let you at anything. I said, what do you mean with that? He said, "I think I can fight you." Well, we're off again, man. But I do him, I did him in. Walked out. He put 2 lumps at the back of my head. I always remember he was quick with boot and slide, and he put 2 lumps up. Boiled legs, there was like stuck at the back of my head. Anyway, I flopped him, done his jaw in. And I'm walking back through the pub, But I looked all right because we were having short tour and a suit and it looked like there was nothing up with me except these 2 lumps. So I said to his mates, you better go and put your mate up at back. Right. So they were like, so anyway, the 2 of them went in and the next thing he runs out holding his jaw. And that was the end of him. But these are situations, Martin, I didn't cause them. I didn't run away from them.
Yeah.
But I did not start them. And probably I saved the 23rd fella from being knocked out. He'd knocked 22 out. You know what I mean?
So you always didn't like bullies?
Well, my mate now, he's dead and buried, Tom. He used to say this thing, he said, if you find a bully, you'll find Mick. That was his saying. If there's a bully, he'll either find Mick or Mick will find him.
The universe brought them to you.
Yes, yeah. I was in a chat. Well, Tommy was in it with a Chinese. This was a daft story, but as you can see, I have a finger missing. And there's a lad meets us this night, and he's got a finger missing. Then we meet up with another fellow with a finger missing. So straight away, I'm thinking there's 5 of us here, and 3's got fingers missing. So something silly might happen tonight. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and we decided to go for something to eat. And went for an Indian, it were full. So the Chinese, there was a table left. So this fella we won at, the last one with the one finger, says, I'm not going in there. I said, why? She said, there's all trouble in there. Right. So I thought, 3 fellas with fingers missing. This fella doesn't want to go in there. There might be someone not right in there. But we were hungry, so we went in. So he sits down for this meal. And in the far end of the restaurant, there's a table with about 12 blokes, and I'm 2 of them's looking across, and I knew. Now, one of them, the fella who caused it, he knew the fella who was with me, he was actually his brother-in-law or something, some relation. But he came over, and he says, I've just done 2 of the black lads on such a door, round the corner. And I thought, so I put my menu on me, so I didn't have to look at him. He said, and I'm that way inclined now, I'll do anybody on this table. And bang the table. So I put the menu down. And Tommy, who I've just told you about, he said, wherever there's a bull, he's sat there. So I went, why don't you do one, lad? He said, me and you on the flags now outside, bang, he's gone. Right, so what I'm saying to you, Martin, these situations happened. They're real. They come to you. I never had to look for anybody, mate. They always came looking for me. Really to the extremes. And then I found out, you always find out, and this is where the loyalty comes in again, certain people you found out who you thought was all right have put some of these people up to it.
Really?
They've met these people in a situation, and they've probably said, well, have a
Is that jealousy, envy?
Jealousy, exactly.
For your position, because they probably wanted to replace you and be in that position to be able to
that's right.
have 150 lads working for them and not for you.
So this is the situation, they probably said, your name comes up, and they'd probably said something detrimental about you. Now, if there was your friend, they'd say, don't do that, Mick's all right. But they didn't. So they were waiting for something to happen. For me to
have that opportunity to...
For me to come unstuck, and then maybe they thought they could have done it and take your place. You know, so...
Fucking rats.
Yeah. A lot of them situations. Bus stop. I was at a bus stop once, a car pulled up. People at the bus stop. Me and you round the backs. Right. I ended up knocking this fella out, putting him on my shoulder and taking him home. My wife at the time said, what's he doing? He's dying in. I said, just let me think.
What are we going to do?
Let me get my bearings here. Right,
Open the boot.
I stopped a fella in the street.
Bring the carpet.
His name was Tommy, and his name was Tommy, a little van. And he'd no reverse on his van. So I calls him. So we carries this fella, puts him in the back of this Tommy's van, takes him to hospital, this fella. And this Tommy's looking at him, and he said, who is he? And he knew him, but he couldn't recognise him because I'd done him in. So he ended up in Broad Green, Liverpool. I've been very lucky, mate, because some of them could have died. So I've been lucky. I even went round to his wife's house and told her. I didn't say I'd done it.
Yeah.
I just said, listen, your husband's in hospital. I thought I'd come and tell you he's been in a bit of trouble. Just as I'm walking away,
So another one who was looking for it.
Yeah, as I'm walking away, getting away, she went, "Is it you what's done it?" You know, but at least I took him there, didn't I? He didn't say anything neither. So I've been lucky in a lot of respects that the people's not died. But they'd have done it to me, Martin. They were all names, these. They had reputations. Who came or wanted to have a reputation. So I only answered back in kind.
Yeah.
You know.
Get it. Thinking about leaving UK for the better lifestyle? Picture yourself in Cyprus. Sunshine, sea views, and slower pace of life will help you to find your dream home on this beautiful island. Goju Ryu Karate, that you found it very useful for street fight. Was it? You said to me that it's soft and hard approach.
Yeah, Goju means soft and hard, soft blocking, hard hits.
Hard punch.
Suited big lads as well as small lads. A lot of styles, like a fast style and a light style. Goju Ryu suited everybody. It was made for, like Gary, who taught me. He was 25 stone. He was a Maori. He was a one-off, Gary. He could kick you in the head, even though he was so big. You know what I mean? He didn't rely on what you can call it, Bruce Lee type kicks, high kicks, low kicks. You know, anything stomach high, break the legs, break the knees, break their ankles, break anything, bust them up. If you drop them, you're going to kick them in the head anyway, aren't you, when they drop.
My trainer was always saying, where the head goes, that's where the body goes as well.
That's right, it does. It came in very handy one night, the Goju. It was a good night. They were killers, these, but I managed to put 6 or 7 away. Everyone I hit went down. It was one of them times, and you know, it must have looked good. I wish I had a film of it. Everybody, and they were just going over like 9 pins, so everything came into play that particular night, you know. There was even one put his head through the door, and I hit him just in case, you know. And he was gone like, you know. So all that was going on. By that time, I'd acquired 10 nightclubs, 15 pubs. So I was running to 70, 80 men then. And I had a tight outfit. It was a tight outfit. When you're running a tight outfit and you're in charge of that outfit, right? All things come into play. You can see your outside enemy, and you know what to expect. It's the people inside what you've got to watch, because the jealousies come into play.
Yeah.
The loyalty becomes into play. And don't forget this. Let's just round it off. We'll say around 100. So I've got up to 100 men. When I've got 100 men, them 100 men have 100 wives or 100 girlfriends. So although the men might be loyal to me, their wives and girls might not think the same about me. So when they're going home and they're telling the wives and girlfriends what's going on, stories like, you've 200 people then at least who can think bad things. You know, I used to always say, I think I might have mentioned this to you, I used to have a lot of lads who'd worked for me for 10 years, great set of lads. This particular lad, not just one, they'd be working for me for years, and all of a sudden they'd go off the boil. So I get stories back from the pub owner. Let's just call him Joe. What's wrong with Joe, Mike? I said, what's wrong with him? He's not the same anymore. He's just a bit off, arrogant, funny with customers, you know, so I'd call him in. Joe's booked for me for years, you know. What's wrong? Nothing, Mick, everything's all right. I always said this. You got a new girlfriend? I used to say. Yeah, who's told you? I said, I just guess like that.
Guess.
Girlfriend, you know. She all right? Oh, yeah, she's great. I said, well, we've been together a long time. Will you answer me this question truthfully? Has she ever said to you, do you always do what Mick tells you? Right? And he said, how did you know that? Right? And he said, well, you either pick her or you pick me. You know, you can carry on doing your job, but you do it the way you used to. Right? You know, if you start listening to her and you're not listening to me. Another big thing with loyalty, Martin, I would never have anybody working for me who worked for somebody else. Mm-hmm. I was totally against that. So somebody'd say, well, I work such a place, such a night. I'll say, well, make your mind up. You're either with them or you're with me. You can't work for two bosses.
Yeah.
Why's that, Mick? I said, because you like one boss more than the other. That's a fact of life.
Yeah.
Right? So if your loyalties to that other boss, somewhere along the line, me and you's going to clash. If you work for me, you work for me. You know?
Get it.
And it was that way of thinking. And then your lads, they'd come along and they'd work for you for years, and all of a sudden you wouldn't see them. They never used to come. I had a pub, and at weekends they all used to call in and see me. And all of a sudden they're prominent because you don't see them. You start thinking about it. And why's he not been doing for seeing me? Mm. So I had two lads working for me. I weren't really struck on them, but they were all right because things were happening. Things were all right. So anyway, I had them on a pub about 40 miles away from me, and everything was all right. So anyway, two girls came in the pub one night for seeing me. Well, they'd come for seeing me. They were having a drink. One of them said, hey, Mick, we was at a pub the other night in Clitheroe. The place was called Clitheroe. And there was two of your men on the door. I said, oh, yeah. They said, yeah. They said, and we said, do you work for Mick? Because they had the ties on, you know. Mm-hmm. So one of them said, yeah, we work for Mick, but we do our own thing. Right? So I said, oh, is that what they said? He said, yeah.
Universe brought the information.
So about a week later, I get a phone call. These two lads. Listen, mate, the coach just pulled up. There's a lot of baddies on this coach, they're kicking off. I said, well, you're all right, you two, you do your own thing, don't you? You know what I mean? So
payback.
It always comes right.
Karma is bitch.
And you know something, your club owners, some were okay at first, and some were greedy. Mm-hmm. So I used to always know with them. So I had a venue in Morecambe, and this venue, I put the two owners together to get the place. It was me putting them together, they got it, and I were in charge of security. One of them I could trust, the other I couldn't. So what I used to do is, I'd know straight away, he'd suddenly phone up and say, I only want half as many men tonight. So I knew there was a move on, hostile doorman coming in. So I've got a coach coming in from Liverpool, a birthday party. So I sent word down, there's no coach, a birthday party coming in there tonight from Liverpool. Because I knew it, so I shot down. So I said to him, what are you doing? Booking a coach full of Scousers in here. I'm not saying nothing against Scousers, Scousers working for me. I said, but, you know, why don't you ask me first? So he said, well, I said, well, they're not coming in. So they're all up, these Scousers. Now, get your head around this, Martin. And at a birthday, there's women and men in there. There were 71 men, right? So meanwhile, I'm on demand. But what I do, I get locals who's in the club, who I know who's all right, I'll have a shot with you. Put them on all the exits, and I front the door, right? Because they'd come for a take-up, right? So I've got about 3 or 4 lads with me on at the front door. Now, as you say, your doorway's only about 10 foot wide. So they come and they say, we're coming in. I said, you're not coming in. We're coming in. I said, no, you're not coming in. Well, we've come 60 miles coming here. I said, well, I've come 60 miles for a stop you. Right? Simple as that. So anyway, one of them, there's always a mouth in, there's always a mouthy one. So he's saying he's going to come in. So I breaks this stool, bang. We've got the stool legs. I said, right, there's that line though. You come over that line, we're dancing, we're all dancing. A voice shouts from back, look, somebody who knew me. Are we not getting in, mate? I said, no, you shouldn't have come like this tonight. It's not. Anyway, we didn't let him in. You know what I mean? But the club owner was as much to blame as them lads. Some of them lads probably Dish was having an heart attack, but there was an ulterior motive with it. But it's like you using your noggin, you know. The situations, sometimes you can't get out of them. You've got to use your best way of thinking about them.
Yeah.
I get a call one tea time on Saturday, I'm having my tea. Can you get down to Red Lion? This is a pub I had for years. Mm-hmm. I go down there and Ed Hot Park's been on. So the call comes through and the message is, there's a coach load of boxers and wrestlers come in. Now there's probably one boxer and one wrestler, but they exaggerate. So the two lads I've got working there pull bats out for use bats. So these lads are straight on them, take the bats. So the two doormen, who I have, do one. So I get to the pub, I'm at home. So the owner of the pub, his son, he's at the bar, he's giving these fellas money. There was a few handy lads amongst them. I said, what are you doing, Graham? I said, don't be giving them money like that. He said, what will you do? I said, let me think. Just give me a minute for the thing. So I've got another door across the road, two good lads on it. So I go across the road, I said to these two lads, listen, I said, in about 5 minutes, a big gang of blokes is going to come running out of that pub and run across here. I said, just lock door and don't let them in. So I goes back. So I said, shakes to these lads at bar. Listen, lads, your mates are in trouble across the road at that pub. So they all run out of the pub, right? There's only 3 left. So I throws them through a side door, you know, and locks all doors, you know. So they're out at the pub then, aren't they? They're out, you know what I mean? You know, so they're knocking out front door then for come in. But right, I'm not bothered then. It's only a doorway, they can't get in that doorway. But the things where you've got to use your head instead of doing it.
Because you always said like you were getting out of bad situation and you had to be fast on your feet.
Yeah.
So you used basically your brain a lot of time in this situation because these situations teach you how to get out of them. It's not always about, you know, if you can avoid fights, I guess you would avoid it.
Of course you would.
You know, you don't want to. You can't fight everyone. No, you know, but you know there are situations when you actually realize, like the one you told me. You know, on that fairground when many people surrounded you. Yeah. How would it end up?
Yeah.
You know, no matter how good fighter you are, if 100 people go against 2, you know, it can end up bad way.
There was an epilogue with that. Like I say, me and Gary. They surrounded us, and Gary said to me, so what are you doing, Michael, don't run. So I said, Gary, look behind you, there's nowhere to run. They had us boxed in, you know. So we climbed over the go-kart track into the middle. Gary said, Jesus Christ, Michael, I'm switched on. I said, I am. He said, what do you think? I said, I know what I think, because I grabbed this spanner like I told you. So they're shouting for blood. They were baying for our blood, you know. So we're going to kill you with all this. I said, well, first and over that wall, I'll crack your head like that. Nobody wants to be first, do they? Mm. Anyway, a couple of lads who was working with us broke through. Big Tony Morton from Southport. He got his black belt same time as me. He got through. Couple didn't. They glassed him on the way, you know, but they got bottled. So anyway, that was a situation where it was better it ending that way, much better. But there was an epilogue to that. 2 lads who's taxi drivers in Liverpool. They used to train at our dojo. A couple of weeks later, they came in and they was training with us and they said we took some of them Orange Lodge people home the other week. they said, did you have a good day at Southport? So they said, yeah, but there was 2 lunatics on that fairground. They said, one with a beard and one with a shaved head. He said they were pulling all kinds of things out the pockets. You know, if you can get some of your injuries, some of the injuries I've had have been with women.
Really?
Women. Women can do nasty things. I don't like calling them fat ladies, but there's a few fat ladies I've had trouble with. One I always remember, she would have took my eyes out with a broken glass. I'm distinctive. I had a husband in a choke. He'd been monkeying, and I wasn't hitting him, I just got him in a choke. And she come right from the side, broken glass, and went for my eyes. But one of them things got stuck in your man. Now you know the thing with broken glass, it follows you. Glass follows you, and half will follow you. Sometimes you better be close to things. So it was a split second. You don't run from glass, because if you run, it could get your eyes, it could get you now. Yeah. So I tucked into glass. I knew it was going to get me. But top of the head doesn't bother you, does it?
Yeah.
Glass just shattered. Plenty of blood, but nothing.
Different than if you went to the
nothing serious. I had another one. I was having a go with somebody, pouring her out. Must have been his wife or somebody. Come back with a bloody bottle, broke it up back in my head. And I'm looking around, looking for a fella. And I spotted the woman with the bottom of the, you know. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know in them situations. There was another occasion, and there was a kerfuffle going on. And I had a load of my lads in the club with me. Anyway, the fellow who they were arguing with, one of the lads says, it's such about his brother. Now this lad who was causing the trouble, I didn't know it, he was bloody schizophrenic, a bit of a nut. And they can be hard work. Yeah. So she says, she comes to me, will you stop it, mate? Don't let him do him in, like. So I go to this set of stairs, me. Says to the lads, he's off on him. He's going out. He just stuck my nose in, really. What does he do? And I'm pretty quick, but he was nippy. I'm conscious of it. He jumps about 3 foot into it, catches me full on, breaks my nose, snaps my nose into it. Clarity everywhere. Then it's one of them jobs, isn't it? Leave him. I said, leave him. I put him in bloody hospital as well, you know what I mean? But that's through. I was doing a good thing there. You're not dealing with good people, are you? You're dealing with nasty people who really want to hurt you. And I always had me, Martin. The police were always after me. They would not leave me alone. I must have been living in their heads, you know. Anything they could do. They used to go round to restaurants where I eaten and ask, did I pay for my meals? All kinds of nonsenses. And did I tell you about the gun? I'm not telling you about the gun. They planted a gun in my pub.
No.
Well, what happened? You always get a warning from the universe, I believe in. I came back from an all-nighter, and there was a fella in front of me, 8:30 on Sunday morning, and he's doing daft things in his car. I thought, what's up with him? Now, I always take these as omens, you know, something not right. I get to my pub, call in for something. It's 8:30 on a Sunday morning, and the front door's open at the pub. So I've had this nut in the car, it's not gone to nothing, and my front door's open in the pub. So that sends me thinking there's something going to happen today. Something silly is going to happen today. So late at night, what we used to do on a night, we'd be raving all day. Everybody be dancing, had a really good night. 11 o'clock, I'd stop proceedings for about half an hour, get Joe Public out and other people, my mates and friends would come, and we'd carry on having an all-night session. You know, really good time.
Yeah.
This particular night, something was telling me to ease off. Just next thing, one of the lads says, Mick, police are here. They'd surrounded the pub, about 50 of them. They raided the pub. So they come in the pub. So I'm sat there mulling around with my records. Right, mate, you're serving after someone. Somebody's got a drink after time. They're all finishing up. They're all going home. So my man's looking at them quick. Hey, get out of this. So I said, listen, lads, all on here, get home. So there's only me then. Mm-hmm. And another lad, Jimmy, who was a loyal lad to me. So they locked Jimmy up. Jimmy's having words with him, so they lock him up. So they then said to me, can you come down station? We just want to shout with you. You know, I thought, this is it now. So anyway, I makes my way down to the police station. Walks through the police station door, and they're all the police women with their legs wide apart, try to look tough, everybody. So first thing they do, right, we're charging with having a Colt 45 where they said, firearm loaded on your premises. I thought, I'm not even going there. Next morning, they locked a few more lads up who were coming across that night. Picked them up at garages and all cells were full with people who were coming to see me. Right. Next morning, about 9 o'clock, a lad called John Mulligan, he was an inspector. John Mulligan was sat next to me at school, but he'd become a police inspector. I was doing what I was doing and he'd become a police inspector. Yeah. And he talked very slow, William talked like that. He said, that's done it this time, eh, lad? They're in real serious trouble this time. He said, they're looking at 10 years. He says to me, right. So I said to him, listen, John, you know when you was at school? I said, you were daft then. I said, since you've joined these lot, I said, you're twice as daft. I said, go upstairs and tell them clowns, as when I get out, I'll find out who put that gun in there. They won't let me go. I found out within 2 hours who pulled that gun there. Somebody come in from outside of anywhere, I don't know where. And when police come, they panicked and put it out. Mm-hmm. Right? But police didn't want to know that. So I had to go through the rigmarole of answering to police bail. And then them saying to me, well, we're not happy with allowing you. I said, well, what do you mean you're not happy? I've told you, you know who's done it. You know it's not me. You know. So they were always on my case. On my case. One of the worst ones, he was chief inspector. And what he did, anything he could get on me. Anything. He bordered on, like, it was proper harassment, really. Mm-hmm. And there's a police sergeant. This sergeant, I got a call one Sunday evening. He's causing a bit of trouble in one of my bars. And he's with the sergeant's always had a constable with him, CID. So the lady who she was a nice friend of mine, she said, Mick, can you come down? She said, I've got this sergeant. I'll not tell you his name because obviously, she said, I don't want him in here. He's coming on to me. And I don't want him in. So I go down there. So I go in, I said, right, you'll have to go, she don't want you in. So he makes it, and bums in through the door, pair of them. The other fella didn't want to know, he was just like, with sergeant. So he hated me for the rest of his life for that. Mm-hmm. So years later, 2 girls who'd had trouble with this same sergeant, right, there's some sexual misconduct went on, right, they walked past my pub, but go to work one morning with the mother, and they see him under my car, right, so past this car, it was a telephone, innit, they ring me up, Mick, such a body was under your car. So I went, right, I bounces down to Wigan police station, says to the chief inspector, who doesn't like me, that fella's been under my car this morning, tell him get out here, I want to. He said, you can't come in here and do that. I said, I am doing that. So anyway, that went out the window. Then what happens, Universe comes in then, Martin, Universe comes and helps you. Phone call one day, Mick, it's Chief Superintendent, such a body from Manchester Police, Greater Manchester Police. Can I come down and see you with a few of my colleagues? You've nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. We just want a word with you. So I said, yeah, okay. So he comes down. So I've got Chief Super, I have a Super and I have a Chief Inspector, a woman. So they then said to me, right, listen to this one, Martin, this is the Universe paying back. Mate, we want to ask you a question, and if you could tell us there's been no comebacks on you. Did Chief Inspector such a body ever take any money or bribes off you? And it was the same Chief Inspector. So I could have ruined him then. I could have said, I give him a watch. I give him a nice ringer.
Yeah.
Right. I said, no. He said, he didn't give me anything. He wasn't on my payroll. I said, but let him know that I've said that. That's all I want you to do. So they're walking through the front door, Martin. And I said, just before you go, I said, it wasn't a sergeant, was it, who told you this story? And I told him the sergeant's name, the fellow who had through you. He said, can we sit down again? Right. So I'll tell them the story then. Right. So they were in the know then. They didn't sack him. Put him on a desk job somewhere in some backwood place. But they were all...
He's been moved.
He's been moved. So like, this is all playing out at the same time as life's moving on.
Yeah.
There's so many stories. I told you the music side. My rest was music. So when everybody went to...
So how did you get to raves and being a DJ and MC?
Yeah, MC. What happened, I was always into soul music when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
Always into music. I got pleasure and energy out of music.
Yeah.
It was my rest. Mm-hmm. When other people get out of
Switch off.
Switch off. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, there was an all-nighter. I'd be there. Through that, I knew the growth on soul music. I'm very, well read on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I became a DJ. I played all over the country. So when I used to get more rest in them places with nice people, because the soul fraternity are really, really good people. It was like being with like a bunch of nuts and villains and horrible, disloyal, disrespectful people, and then being with lovely people.
Hell and heaven.
Heaven and all good energies. The rave scene, I was instrumental in what went on with rave scene when it first started. And we had the wildest raves you've ever seen in your life. They were bordering on insanity. We did all the illegal ones, and we did the legal ones. And obviously, I was into that. They were a great crowd. The people who went to rave, the original raves, they only went for energy and joy.
Yeah.
So, and then everybody starts coming into it, doesn't it? Finally, they all catch up, all the, the drugs are not the right drugs. Mixing them in bathtubs instead of chemists making them. We'll put this in it and put something like that in, and all that comes into it. And if you remember, you probably before your time, drugs was never associated with training. Mm-hmm. There was two different things. There was training, and training was for people who was keeping yourself right. Steroids came into the job, didn't they? I mean, every Tom, Dick and Harry had a go at them, you know what I mean? Probably 90% of
Me too,
in
my 20s.
Right. But then, cocaine came along. Cocaine is probably as regards an our-time economy, it's the worst drug. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can talk about heroin and smack, that don't come into night-time economy, but cocaine does. It's an instant fix. In 20 minutes, for 20 minutes, they can turn from like a budgerigar into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, can't they? They're full of mouth. It seems to find them if they've got a bad personality, or they know personality.
That it's even worse when they have a sniff.
So they're dangerous for 20 minutes or so. If you can keep them talking for 20 minutes and half an hour, you can see them actually
going down.
Yeah, and then you can set them. What did you say before? And they'll go, but it don't matter now. Right? And I said to them, like, if it was any good, that cocaine, I'd have a barrel full in my back garden and a straw piece in Australia. You know what I mean? But it's no good. It's a deceiver's drug. Now, a lot of people tell me, I'm not bothered stuff like that. If anybody takes it and they're okay, it doesn't affect them. It only finds people with a disorder and exaggerates that feeling what they have. Mm-hmm. So if you've got somebody who's a bit suspect sexually, he'll turn into a rapist.
Right.
If you've got somebody who's a little bit violent, he'll proper violent. They're all things like you pick up on things like that.
At Rainbow Northwest, we make real estate effortless. Whether you're looking to sell on the market, off market through our exclusive investor database, or via auction, we've got you covered. Plus, we offer top-notch property and project management, including refurbishment for investors. We can help you to build your own portfolio. Let us help you on your real estate journey. Rainbow Northwest, your trusted real estate business partner. Should we touch on SIA? What's your thoughts about that when it came into place?
Well, the SIA were brought in to regulate doormen and the security industry. They were brought in, actually, I don't want to upset everybody out there, but it was through me. You all were them badges. I had a fallout with a local MP in the Wigan area called Ian McCartney, and he claimed I was threatening his life. He even said I'd sent a funeral car to his house with a coffin in it. Even the police didn't believe that one. And he once got flattened in a labour club with somebody who didn't work for me, and he said as I'd put them up to it. So you can tell from the lies then what Ian McCartney was like. He also named me in the House of Commons as being responsible for gratuitous violence, a big word at the time, and frightening his constituents in the Wigan area with violence and etc. When I challenged him out to say that in public, he wouldn't do it. The only people who we committed violence with, and I can say this from my heart, they were bad people. I've no regrets whatsoever about them people when I were in business. They were bad families, they were bad people with evil intentions, and I'm not one bit sorry about them kind of people. The things I am sorry about are things what go way back in my past, and I've made amends with them. If I was wrong, I was wrong. I'm big enough to say when I was right and wrong. But McCartney pushed forward. He was on the front benches of the Labour Party, and he brought the SIA into play. So all you lot out there wearing them badges, it's because of me. I'm sorry about that, because actually the SIA to me is just a silly, idiot authority, not a security industry, right? They've got people working for them, ex-police, ex-army, ex-whatever, and some of them, they've not a clue, they've never had a fight in their life. How can they tell people like me and other people who's been in the job how to do the job? They've got people teaching who don't know anything. You've got odd exceptions, and if you're an odd exception out there, you know, I'll agree with that. They actually, in 2007, about 8 years before I finished, I noticed I was getting people coming with badges who couldn't speak English.
Okay.
I made it known and let everybody know that I wasn't happy with it.
So how the hell they passed the test? Because I was doing doors in Bolton, that was 2012. I came to UK 2010, and it was my second job. So I was working, I think, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and I needed SIA license. But I remember that was the second year while I was here. My English wasn't great that time. 2010 when I came in, I couldn't speak English at all. And that test wasn't easy to pass.
No.
You know, you needed to understand the question to make an answer.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't understand the question, you can't pass it. Honestly, it wasn't something that you will do like this.
Yeah, it weren't easy.
So how the hell these people pass? That's
so what happened? Some of my lads couldn't get the badges, and they'd been working for me for years. So I made inquiries why they couldn't, and they wouldn't give me a proper answer. In my opinion, they were doing it deliberately to put me out of business.
Okay.
Right. I'll go as far as to say that. So I did have lads coming to me, and they were foreign.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not starting all that racial nonsense because I'm not into that. But they couldn't speak English. So how can you put a man on a door to communicate if he can't speak English? So I made it plain. I went to the local newspapers and I put in, this is not right what's going on. Security industry is being let down here. We've got people working on doors who can't speak English, right? They don't know the local terrain. They don't know the local people. They've not a clue about anything. How they got them badges? So the SIA then, in their wisdom, they ring me up. When they ring me up, this is the kind of people they are. Is that you, Mr. Lyons? I said, yeah, it is, yeah. Well, you've been talking about us, haven't you? Now, these are a government body, a Quango, talking to me like that. I said, what do you mean? Well, you've been saying bad things about us. No, I said, I've not been saying bad things about you. I've just been telling the truth. I want to know why people who can't speak English started coming from nowhere with badges. So I knew then they had it in for me. So I'll tell you the rest of the tale. As life goes on, they're still chasing me all the time, trying to get what they want. So about 2013, I have two lads work for me. One's a fireman, senior fireman, and another kid working for me. So the fireman gets the other lad to blow his car up on a fire station where he works for the insurance money.
Okay.
This is how it starts. So the fella blows his car up, but he made a mistake and he caught fire too. Nothing to do with me. This is their little scam.
Little business.
Yeah. So I found out then these two have been taken to court. The fireman gets jailed, and the other kid, who's set himself on fire, right? He's still got a badge. Where I call him in and I said to him, listen, you still got your badge? He said, yeah. So, well, you've been in trouble, haven't you? He said, yeah, but I've still got my badge. They've not took it off me. So you can't work for me at present. You can't work for me. For the simple reason, as you know the score. So I lay him off. 6 weeks later, on a particularly Saturday night, the club where he used to work, he got friends with the manager there. So the manager at the club's a man short. Instead of ringing me up, he rings him up and he tells him come and work. 2 hours later, the police visit the club. Of all the times they visit the club, right? So the SIA then pretend there was a routine visit, and if, so I then asked for Freedom of Information Act and found out was it targeted that night. So the police, being diligent, say, yeah, it was a target. They had to come out there it were. So they then take me to court for conniving a conspiracy, having men working on a door with no badges. Right, so I have to explain to him what's happened. I said, anyway, he still had a badge. Why have you not taken his badge off him? It's up to you. I said, it's not up to me to take a badge off. You're the governing body, So anyway, I'd retired then. So 12 months after I retired, I'm stood in Liverpool Crown Court. Little bit of a story with this one. The fella who's after me from the SIA happens to be a detective sergeant from Bedfordshire Police. And he's going round to my customers at the time in Wigan and various areas, asking all about me. Now, for some reason, he mustn't think telephones exist. Them same people he's talking to, as he's gone through the door, they're on the phone, hey, this fella's been asking about you, mate. But you always find weak links. So they go to the club where this fella was caught working, right? They get through to the manager there, right? If you don't tell us it's Mick Lyons, we're going to do you, right? And then, so I get hold of this fella, and I said, what's he said to you? He said to me, I want Mick Lyons, and I've got him. That was his words, Martin. I've got Mick Lyons. I want Mick Lyons, and I've got him. I said, oh, did he say that then? He said, yeah. So, 2015, this, I'm at Crown Court for committal, not the actual trial, the committal. So I'm stood, I'm looking through windows at Christmas, all lights are on. I thought, what the bloody hell am I doing here at 64 years of age? You know. And this fellow, his name was Furnival, he's on the landing. And my wife was with me. And she went somewhere. And there's only him and me on the landing. So he says to me, all right, Mr. Lyons. You know. I said, yeah, I'm fine, mate. I said, what about you? I said. He said, what do you mean? He said, I want you, and I'm going to get you. That's what you said, innit? He said, you can't talk to me like that. So I fucking just did it. I said, you fucking lump of shit, like, you know. So he stood with his legs. I said, well, you got your legs open like that? I thought, I look tough, like, you know. These scouts just come out of one of the doors at one of the court cases and went, fucking hell, lad, look at this going on here, like, you know. So this SIA fellow runs off. He's an inspector for him. He runs off up the stairs, so I go back in for committal. So the judge says to me, have you just threatened Mr. Lyons, one of the inspectors from the SIA? I said, no, Your Honour. I said, he come out with a comment to me, I said, and I'd just give it him back what he said to me, you know. So this is your hero, these are your heroes, what they're going to get you. So I ends up 3 months later, they bring two barristers up from London, Kingsley and Ameley, one of the top barristers that come through looking after the SIA. They've never lost a case yet, these lot. My solicitor told me that. And I've got this barrister called Mr. Brown, he looked like something off television, you know. He was all right, like. But anyway, I took my wife and my girl from the office, just two of us. So I goes into court. So before they started proceedings, the prosecution get up and they've got trolleys worth of evidence. Trolleys, right? I've got myself and my two girlfriends. So before we start proceedings, Your Honour, the first three witnesses require a curtain across the front of the dock before they give evidence. So the judge says, why do you want that? Why do they want that? So this man's a very intimidating, aggressive person. He's known for violence. So the judge shouts to me, who have you got in court with you today, Mr. Lyons? Who have you brought? I said, brought my girlfriend, Your Honour. That's my girl from the office. So he then said, well, okay, he said, we'll allow this curtain. He said, but we'll tell the jury it's because these three witnesses are of a nervous disposition, right? So then, what they did, Martin, they went right back to me past 1966. Right, they swore a jury in, dismissed one jury, got another jury in. Now, you can't beat a Liverpool jury. If they're good people, Liverpool people, you know what I mean? If you're right, you'll get, you know, they'll believe it.
Definitely.
So there was 10 women on the jury and 2 fellows, right? So I thought, look at this, you know, I've got away with all these things in my life, and these clowns have got me in where they want me, or they think they have. So I just given them both barrels, just told the truth, was myself, just like I've just spoke to you, told them about it. So what they'd said, they went back to 1966, all my convictions. So they call that now bad character. They're giving you bad character. But what they overlooked was that bad character was the in-between. When I'd run a business, I had people working for me for years, looked after people. Because I had loads of references if I'd have got a guilty. You know, and what I'd do, and I got the jury for look at different things, just sneaked it in. What they didn't, the prosecution didn't like it, where it showed you me questioning the SIA. You know, give them a flavour about what was going on. So when the judge, he sums up, doesn't he? And he sums up and he said, you might have heard about Mr. Lyons and about his past and this and his that, but you members of the jury, he said, you've got to remember, he run a business for 40 years. He said, nearly 40 years, he said, and everything was right. He said, so what I want you to do before you make a decision is to think of Mr. Lyons as an excellent character, right? You know, in the big scheme of things. So they worked out half an hour. They come back, not guilty. They said, not guilty of this charge. And they said, is he guilty? And the judge jumped up. If he's not guilty of that one, he's not guilty of the second one. Mr. Lyons, you're free to go. And it was the first time I got told by legal eagles they'd ever been beat in court. Everyone they've took, I was the first one for face them head on.
Universe?
And beat it. Universe again. Universe always comes through.
Always comes through.
Yeah. So I was a very happy chap. It was the best fight I'd won for a while, that one. I was walking through Liverpool, that it was pouring down with rain. I just wanted to win that one. For sure, people that, you know, what kind of... And these people are in charge now, that's the frightening thing. There's no good doormen about now. Very, very few.
You mentioned to me that, you know, when you started on doors 1970s, you had 100 men, 90 were men, 10 jackets.
Yeah.
But then when you were finishing
2014,
you had 90 jackets and 10 men.
That's correct. If I went back, I'll round it off, I'll put it in years. So we'll go to 1985. 100 men, 90 men, 10 jacket fillers. Roll the clock on to 2015 when I finished. I've 10 men and 90 men with jackets on. That's what the SIA did. That's the way it's changed. And I think anybody who's left in the industry now, the only thing about it is the footfall now. There was a lot more fighting went on, proper fist fighting and blood and thunder in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, right, than what there is now. The violence now is nothing compared to what it was then, because there's cameras everywhere, and all right, you might hear somebody shooting somewhere, you know, but the actual fisticuffs and brawling and that, what you score, there's none of that now. Are very, 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 very rare. So the SIA are responsible now, such as, I don't even know what's going on in Wigan now, but I know for a fact in Wigan there used to be 60, 70 doormen working on a Saturday night. Probably 50 of them were man. Right? There's probably not 20 doormen, 25 doormen down there now. All it's short of Wigan now is a bit of tumbleweed blowing around. You know, it's that bad. So God knows how these lot today would be shaping up in my time. You know, when everything was booming.
Different.
Yeah, was booming.
Rough and...
The place would be an uproar. You can't have... how can you put it? You can't have people coming in from towns 50 miles away and don't know anything about local knowledge. But it's being covered up, that. It wants exposing that with the government, you know.
How did you lose your finger? Tell me.
I lost that finger in
Fighting.
I think it was late 70s, and it was something and nothing, which these things happen. I had a choke on a fella, and I had the choke, and it was a tight choke. And if nobody had interfered, it would have been a tight choke, and the fella had gone out of the club. 2 or 3 of his oppos jumped on my back, and I wouldn't let the grip go, right? Resulting in the tendon shooting from there
to
there. So I tried to put up with it. They had a few operations. Finger wasn't working proper. Couldn't put my hands in my pockets. So I said, chop it off, get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Like you said last time, chop the fucker.
You know what I mean? It's one of them things. I'm lucky and I'm blessed. I'm still here. I think I've something like 250 stitches in me. You know, with cuts and wounds and broken things. I was stabbed here in my chest. I didn't even know I'd been stabbed because it was superficial, but I had to have it stitched up and that. But all I felt was wet. You know, it weren't sack of pain. I just felt wet. Bad scar there. But I got my arm broke I got it banged. I think it was either a stool or there was something happening. Bad bang. And my arm turned black. And I always remember, it was a Saturday and I couldn't be bothered going to hospital. And on a Monday, the colour started coming back in my arm. So I thought, well, it's all right now. So anyway, about 18 months on, I have a kerfuffle with somebody, and my arm started aching really bad. And I thought, it's not right, this. So I went to Whiston Hospital. They said it's a tennis elbow. Anyway, day after, it hadn't gone any better. I went back again. I said, can you x-ray this? So they x-rayed it. And
broken.
Well, they said, can you wait here a minute? The surgeon who came out, I knew him, because he'd done jobs on me before he did that for me. He said, come here, Michael. So I went in his thing, and him and his mate, they've got the x-ray of my arm. And he went, how long's this been? I said, they said, you've been walking around with the wrong arm for 15 months, 16 months. Right. And what's happened, there's just enough blood coming through, you know, like to feed it.
Yeah.
Right, but I've been putting up with it. And he went, right, I said, you're not going home today? I said, no. He said, no. I said, wait there, we've got a bed for you. If you don't get this sorted, he said, you'll be going home in a while. You know, so that was another perilous job.
Yeah.
You know, perilous job. So, like I say, nose breaks, stitches eyes, all usual stuff and nonsense, you know. But I'm still here, Martin. I'm still here.
That's great. Let's touch on Michael Jackson monkey story.
Oh, yeah, that was a good story. So, 1988, September, look at two or three stories here in one. So, we get the job of security on the Michael Jackson concert, me and Gary Spires, with our company. Stevie Gibbon, John Lally from Liverpool with us, and we go down to London and we get the security. So we go on the day, and Michael Jackson, would never have use police as security on his gigs. He didn't like it, which was a good thing, really. So anyway, I goes down there, and the top honcho there, who's from Shawsec down in London, he said to me, will you look after the mixing tower for me? Mixing tower is the tower what comes out about 50 metres from stage, controls everything. If they're doing a movie, they'll do a movie on it. I'll send you some pictures of that, because you'll actually see what I mean. So anyway, as the day's going on, the crowd's building up. So there's 150,000 there. And I've got 90 men working on the mixing tower. And I'm on.
Where was this?
It was at Aintree, Liverpool.
Liverpool, okay.
So anyway, I'm on the mixing tower, I'm controlling things and talking with lads. So Kim Wilde, who was a famous singer at the time, she's supporting Michael Jackson. So she comes on stage and she's singing Kids in America. That was her big record. So I'm looking at the crowd, and the crowd starts moving, swaying. It's like a sea of people. Now this is, man, 7 months before Hillsborough, where people of Liverpool lost 100 good people in a tragedy at a football stadium because the police didn't act properly. You know, didn't take action. Yeah. So I'm watching this. So I said to the lad who worked for me, John Dover, he was a good lad for me. I said, get all lads together. I said, because when Michael Jackson comes on here, that crowd's going to push and they're going to be dropping like flies. He said, I think you're right, mate. So we get all the lads ready. So, of course, Michael Jackson a crane comes down. Everybody shoves forward, and they started dropping, Martin. As soon as they dropped, my lads was getting them out, and we got the crowd working with us. All the crowd was working with us. As somebody were dropping, they were passing them back. So behind the mixing tower, we had a sterile area where the St John's was. So we carried them round, and St John's was putting them in silver foil, and must have carried 200 out. But nobody died. Nobody died. So this is the first part of the episode. So Jackson's on stage. So we've done all this. All lads' arms are aching, carrying him out. So next thing what happens, 4 of his bodyguards come bouncing up the mixing tower. Big lads, black lads, big but big jackets on, making them twice as big. And they're shoving everybody out there. You know that. They were bullies.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle, and CBS is doing the movie and all that. And I watch, I'm conscious of them, shoving people. So next thing, a tap on shoulder. It's an American fella. He says, you in charge here? You in charge? I said, why? You better get round the back. He said, there's going to be murder. Right? So you know that film, Crocodile Dundee where he pulled a knife. And he said, you call that a knife? Looks like that, right? I goes right back, and these 4 black lads, right, one of them pulled a knife, about 4 or 5 inch blade on.
But why they wanted to fight with you? I don't get it.
They were used to getting their own way.
Right, okay.
Right? So what happens, as they do that, my lads are jumping out of scaffolding with axes and machetes. Right. So I just gets there in time and I went, whoa, stop that. Stop it dead now. So I said to these 4 Yanks, listen, you might get away with that in Bronx or wherever you come from. You're in our place now. You'll not get away with that shit with us. I'm telling you now. Right? So they scuttled off. That could have gone bad. That could have gone bad. Because they'd have got killed, these Yanks. They'd have got done in. They weren't used to anybody giving it them back. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're on our turf and they're coming and shoving them. I goes back round the front. Another chap I shoot over. So this other American said, hey, brother, can I shake your hand? So I shook his hand. He went, I'd be dying to see that what just happened. He said, those guys have been bullying all over this country. He said, I'm going to Madrid tomorrow, joining the 4 Tops, he said, and I'm going to tell them this story. So that was that, right? So I thought, everything's happening there today, you know. So next thing, Gary shows up. Gary, Michael. I said, all right, listen, I've got some news, he said. So I thought, what's this now? You know that monkey what Jackson's got? Bubbles. He said, that monkey's behind that stage now. He said, if we can get that monkey, he said, I'll give us £1 million, get it back. I said, Gary, do you not think we've got enough monkeys working for us? Yeah, you couldn't make it up, could you? You know.
Yeah. You told me you read books last time when you came. I gave you that ego.
Yeah, I'll bring that next time.
Yeah, no, that's yours. Yeah. I bought another one. That's a gift from me. So I want to recommend this one, Respect and Reputation.
Yeah. That's the one I got.
Robin Barrett.
That's the one I lent you.
Yeah. I read it.
Yeah.
Giving it to you back today. Robin Barrett and Charles Bronson. It's full of stories. Obviously, your stories are there as well. Robin Barrett, massive respect. I actually messaged him. I told him I will send him a link to this podcast. Yeah. So he's expecting that.
He's all right, Robin.
Yeah. And there is so many good stories. But the main thing is, this is about doors and how to gain or earn respect. People think that it's something you can demand. You can't demand respect. You have to earn it. You have to show respect to someone. It's mentioned there million times that you will never earn someone's respect if you won't give respect.
You've got to give it to gain it. Somebody has to be first, and the first man who gives it, he's the better man. There's nobody too big for not give respect. It's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially in this world. World of doors and security and...
Now, in saying that, when you give respect, it's the reaction you get back. Right? Sometimes it might be a bad reaction, but you've tried your best. You've been respectful.
Yeah.
Right? 9 out of 10 times, if there's anything about a person, they'll give it back to you. It's a good way of finding out about people, really. Because if you give it and there's nothing coming back, that tells you give that person a miss. You know what I mean? It's like a warning sign, really. Don't touch that person. And I've learned through my life, I've got a lot of people respect what I shouldn't have done. That's their problem, Martin, not mine. If everybody's been respectful to me, they've got it back twice as much from me. Because I've always tried to give more than I've taken with things like that. Mate. You're there for show the way with stuff like that.
Yeah. So I personally want to just show massive respect to all these guys who are mentioned in this book. Paul Knight as well, Robin. There is many of them, including yourself. Yeah. It's a great book about respect, how to build it, and how how it was different back in the days on doors and how is it now?
It is now, yeah.
So-
Big, a vast difference today. First of all, your totality of people. There was a lot more people then. There was a lot more people doing what we do then. It was a much bigger scene.
Yeah.
So, if you've got a bigger scene, everything's magnified more, isn't it? You know what I mean? But I've always said, and I've never been disrespectful to anybody. It's always them started with me. The only thing I can say, well, there's a problem with me, I never walked till the end either. Right? That's, I can't admit to that.
Yeah.
And it was an old fellow what said that. Somebody said, because a bloke told me he was there, and somebody said, I've never seen Mick start any trouble, and this old fellow went, no, but he don't walk away. So, I didn't, you know what I mean? And he was right.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes the ego, and I'll admit, you carry an ego and stuff like that. But most things, I couldn't get out of it.
Do you remember the point when you said that ego is your enemy and you have to hang it
Yes.
on the door and just
Yeah,
leave it at home when you go in?
Yeah. I started a long time ago. I started realising his ego was involved in things, and it's a terrible thing.
It comes with training. Comes with in my case. I remember when I was taking steroids, a lot of ego comes out, and you think you're on the top of the world where you're not.
It's all false, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happens, Martin, with ego is you wear a mask.
Okay.
You're actually wearing a mask when you have ego, and that mask has to come down sometime. The longer you have it, when it does come off, the worse things are. So, unless the person realises they've got ego, unless he realises himself, they're the last people to realise, though, aren't they? Some people, everything about them's just there's a facade, and once you see that facade, how can you put it? Some people used to aggravate me because they got ego, and then I started feeling a bit sorry for them because I could see through it. I'm a great believer, I know you are. I'm a great believer in the universe for levelling things up. Problems I've had in my life with some people is bad things have happened, and I've shoved things along. I've shoved the camera along a bit too quicker than it should have done, and I should have left it to the universe. When I have left it, it sorts things out. It gets there. It might take a little bit longer, but it gets there, and it's a better result. Well, when you're young,
Less hassle.
you want to kick that camera along. Come on, camera. You know what I mean? Get on with this, like. But that's your ego.
Yeah.
So there's all them, so many aspects and so many.
When you realise that actually this works against me in many situations.
It always works against you. Yeah. And there's loyalty and respect. Without them two things, there's nothing.
I want to touch back on the ego side. We both heard this, and it's mentioned in that book from every single one person who is mentioned in that book. You know who I am?
I know.
The famous,
the
the famous phrase, that's proper ego.
Yeah.
Like, if you are somebody, why do you need to tell?
To say that.
If you are somebody known, then people will know.
No, exactly.
It was always the thing. Like when I was working on doors in my city, there was 20 lads working on the different clubs. Not necessarily one group, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There wasn't one group that was, having all the doors.
But
there were probably 2-3 groups. We knew each other because in most cases we trained with each other day after. And if someone walked in and we knew who it was, he didn't have to say,
you don't have to say,
you know who I am.
That's right.
And I met many people who I knew who they were, and I knew how to behave in that situation.
In that
how to give respect and how to earn respect from them.
Well, you know my thing on that. Do you know who I am? He says, a fella here don't know who he is. That was my crack.
That was yours.
You know. And then the famous one, they used to say, you know, obviously you had trouble. You're a dead man, you Mick Lyons. I used to say, now listen, get behind the queue. I've got no favourites. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And then, you know, but this ego, it stretches to the internet, doesn't it, on keyboards. People with ego getting on these keyboards, and they think if they drop somebody's name, it makes them more important. But
that's even the most embarrassing that I've seen in my life when I was in that environment on doors, like using someone else's name.
Yeah, but they can.
And in some cases, I remember the guy who brought me to doors, a very good friend of mine. He gave me first job in his city on doors, and people were telling him that they will bring him on him.
Did to me.
And it's me, it's myself.
Yeah.
You know,
He did it to me.
You know,
I used to
how embarrassing that you're using someone else's name and you don't even know who they
yeah.
are. You never spoken to them. You never, you know, I never. There are some unwritten rules
Yeah.
that we both believe
Yeah,
in, and one of them is never mention someone's name. I wouldn't even mention your name, and I believe we are already friends.
Yeah, good
Do you understand?
Good friend.
I would never mention your name because it's embarrassing, you know. I don't get it.
Just what you're on about your friend, I think I told you. I was on a door, but not once, it's happened 3 or 4 times. And I used to have a nickname, Mick Lyons, my name.
Yeah.
And they had another name called Mick Hooker. I was called Mick Hooker. Mick used to call me Hooker, a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on a door and I throw a fella out of the club. And he said, you're a dead man, you Mick Lyons. I'm bringing Mick Hooker for you. So I went, that's going to be interesting. That'll be really interesting.
I got to deal with myself.
Yeah. Well, I laugh now because people have to go through these phases, and you're never going to change everybody. Even you're going to get people, and you know, some people you can feed them, you can give them jobs, you can help them, and they're still never going to give you what you want. You've got to. I don't ask for people for like, how can you put? If they want to, the people who love me, I love them.
Yeah.
People who like me, I like them.
Every single one person who was in this podcast so far said the really few people they can rely on, they can only count on one hand. So you got 4.
That's a fifth of it gone, isn't it? We've lost 20%. When we started, haven't we?
Right. The question that I ask every single one guest, is loyalty important to you?
Very, very important. Most important thing of all. Once loyalty is brought with me, I'm finished with that person. Not finished with them. I'm finished with them. Anything what regards having anything to do with them as regards life. Whatever. No.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's the only way. You just have to cut them off and forget about it.
If somebody tells me a lie, Martin, and lies are always told with loyalty and disrespect. It starts with a little lie.
Yeah.
That little lie.
It's a thin ice, and you have to remember what you said. That's the problem with lies.
So they finish them with me. There is people who's been disloyal to me, and give them the due, they've come and said, I'm really sorry. Because I'm that way inclined, I've said, forget it now. You'll never be the same again, but I forgive them.
Yeah, I get it.
There's other people who've been disloyal.
It's always at the back of your head thinking like, you know.
There's other people who've been disloyal, disrespectful, and I'll not forget. I'll never forget. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be carrying their burden, you know, and I'll let the universe deal with it.
I learned one thing that I stopped giving a second chances, because if someone's got intention to fuck with you,
they'll do it again.
They will do it again.
Yeah.
Mayor Lansky said, if you lose money, you lose nothing. If you lose your health, you lose something. But if you lose your character, you lose absolutely
There's nothing
everything.
left. What's it all about? What are you here on this planet for? You know, you don't belong, do you? You know, it's
so powerful.
It's the most powerful thing of all. When I had my squad at its peak, when I had them all training, it was really tight. And when you're tight, slightest little thing shows if things are not right.
Mm-hmm.
Slightest little thing, you know things are not working the way they should do. And you could spot it just by an answer, just by somebody giving you a casual answer back. And it bang, I go, this is not right. But, you know, that's how sharp you get.
And, you know, loyalty in that environment, doors, and back in the days when you were on doors, you know, if someone is not backing you up, like I think Robin Barrett mentioned one incident where he was on doors, there was big fight, and the big fella who was probably size twice of him was locked in a toilet.
They swallowed it.
And, you know, if it can be a matter of life and death in those situations if someone is not backing you up, you know, because someone, you dealing with someone and someone from behind you don't see, you know, can do the harm.
Well, I've mentioned them brawls before. I told you about just a casino, just them few brawls that I mentioned before. They were life and death ones, them. The thing was, if 3 or 4 of us hadn't stuck together and kept at it, you were fighting 10, 15, 20, 30 men, grown men. And you had to do it. If any of us would have been a weak link, I might not be here today.
Yeah.
You know.
I get it.
Yeah.
I only been in a couple of those situations, not many. Definitely not as many as you, but I remember I came back home that morning and I was just sat on my own and thinking, fucking hell, I could have been dead.
Yeah.
How did I came out of this situation?
You're still here.
Not broken and you know.
Yeah. I think in my day, the difference was you were desensitised to stuff like that. What happened? It happened that bloody much.
That much that it was just normal.
Yeah, it was just a normal thing. Yeah, you know, where other people, they stand out every week. It was seriously every week. The kids today, if you're under 50 today, under 60 today, you wouldn't know about them, about them times. You know.
Get it.
And good people, Martin, always find good people. They come into your life, and they come in at the right time, and it's up to you to grab them at that time, because that's when you're supposed to be right. Everything
happens for a reason.
Everybody happens.
Universe brought us together.
It did.
I
think so.
I believed in loyalty all my life, Mick.
Yeah.
40 years old.
Yeah.
And I believed in this, and many times I felt like, is it the right thing? Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
I couldn't find the answer.
Yeah.
And now, this time, everything is clicking together.
Yeah. You found the right people.
I found the right people in the business. I found the right people like yourself. We've got a project that we are working on. Yeah. We're going to do your book.
Yeah.
And then, potentially, we will approach some people in film industry with it. Everything is clicking together, basically. Yeah. Now I see that I'm gonna reap some fruit out of it.
Yeah.
To think that I believed all my life that, you know, when you shake someone's hand, it's a bond, and that's it. Yeah. There is no need to sign any piece of shitty paper. You know, if you give your word as a man, you should keep it.
Yeah. What happens, Martin? When you meet right people, everything goes right.
Yeah.
You straight away as you meet somebody proper, you get a buzz off them.
Yeah.
You get a feeling.
The right energy.
Energies, yeah. You're picking up on. You're on a level. You're on the right frequency.
Yeah.
Straight away. You don't have to look for the level. It's already there. So you're already tuned into one another. You can read off one another. You think, this fella's all right. There's no harm here. There's nothing threatening. There's nothing malice. We can help one another. And everything comes off them two energies together become 20 energies, 30 energies, because they're together, don't they?
Yeah.
We're
synergy.
Not knocking some people. Some people drain us. I call them vampire energies. They come and drain your energies off you, don't they? You know, you can talk to some people, and then you got to go to bed after.
Negative people. The worst people you can be surrounded with.
Yeah, I won't put up with that no more.
No,
I've done with that. And some people, you can never get it all right, because some people are not right. So you can never get them validate you and say you're all right. You're flogging a dead horse trying to make them kind of people like you.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Get it.
You know.
Mick, listen, it's been absolute pleasure to have a great chat with you, to listen to your story. This is just a tip on the
Iceberg.
top of the iceberg. We will be working on your book, and there will be many, many more stories similar to what's that monkey's name? Pebbles? Bubbles.
Yeah.
And we will go into the details, and what we are trying to do with this is to leave the legacy and let the loyalty live forever. You know, speak to people for whom loyalty is still important, and they believe in the same core values that we do.
I hope so. And like attracts like. People who's alright attract people who's alright. The people who's not alright, and I could never get over this one, me mate. I can now. But years ago, you'd have some bully, and they would be proper bullies. You'd flatten them, which is what you had to do. And the bullies had a following. They had people who like them. They actually had people who like them. It's birds of a feather, isn't it, flock together. And I used to think, that fella's like broke loads of people's noses, busted eyes, made people's lives miserable, and he's still got support. And I could never get that. I get it now.
Yeah.
Because birds of a feather. You know, so that told me, didn't just tell me about the person who had the problem with, it told me as all them other people were problems too, you know. And sometimes there's more of them than there is of us.
100%.
And you got to accept that.
If my circle will be only small, but with the right people,
that's the one.
That's
quality,
the right thing.
Quality and not quantity. That's what you want.
Exactly.
Quality and not quantity. Quality beats quantity every time, unless you're fighting Chinese armour.
Mick, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Pleased to meet you, and thank you. I'm 74 in a couple of weeks' time. Took me a long time getting there. Maybe I've not got where I'm going yet, but what I've learned is, if you can find anybody in this life who's loyal and gives you respect, and you can give it them back, hang on to them, because they're a rare commodity, because there isn't many about. I can count them on one hand, and as you know, I've got a finger missing. Right? I'd like to say to you, this is not talking about being an hard man and a tough man and all that. I've never said that I was an hard man or a tough man. I've just had the good luck and God's blessing that I've knocked a lot of fellas out who said they were hard men and tough men, you know. And what I've learned as well is a couple of little things, and they're really important. Never put your hands on anybody unless it's a last resort. And this is important too for me, and I think you'll agree with me, be careful with words. There's some words people will die for. So that means, whether it's on a computer or speaking verbally, some things are better left unsaid. You know, I'd like to add on to this by saying I was diagnosed a year ago with prostate cancer. So check all those who's listening. Get your PSA levels checked out. Go to your doctors. You can be treated. I'm being treated. I'm still training. You know what I mean? And them things.
They said you wouldn't train?
They said I wouldn't train. And I've trained out of the last 365 days, I've trained 350, which is, it's not bad, you know. So I'd like to end up with saying this to everybody. God bless. I wish you well.